Thunderbirds are gold.
Okay, we're connected. I thought Facebook was private.
Right.
Wouldn't be the
If
first
if
time.
you're not from a certain era, you won't have any clue about the Thunderbirds business. So.
Oh, there we go. It's told us now. That
Right.
everyone knows. Oh,
Come on, sort it out. So here we go. It's interesting. I chose this topic. And when I chose this topic, I'm just seeing how it because I've just moved
what it
a bit.
looks like, yeah.
Yeah, I just want to
Might have to move this one.
no, I just
Yeah, it's just slightly.
there we go. That should do it. When I chose this topic,
Yeah,
We
that's
did-
why he's just moved it again.
we didn't have that information about Meghan and Harry. Funnily enough, that information has come through, and so it kind of fits into what I want to talk about, at least in terms of relationship part to an extent, and then
Identity.
we'll kind of spread out. So it talks about relationship and identity. Now, here's the thing. People may assume that those things are not very important. You know, it doesn't matter. You just, of course, you know your identity. That's your mum, that's your dad. Your surname is Chambers or Smith or Welch or whatever it may be. So that's it. But what do you actually speak about in your household, in your family? How do you gel together as a family? And what do you speak to your children and young people about for how they will gel with their own family as they grow up and so forth? And it does matter. Because that's why we're having some of the issues that we have, particularly with people who are, you know, of this nice hue like us. You know? Looking good, isn't it? My skin is smooth. For a man in his 50s, you know, not doing bad. So they've been lucky they've got the skin from their dad.
It keeps.
And makeup helps as well, you know, for those that wear it.
I don't know why it keeps doing
Wow.
It's doing some
But on
funny.
here, it's not showing thingy.
It's showing me, and on mine it's showing you.
Yeah, but it's
And
not
on
showing
theirs-
Israel.
No, it's not.
Hmm?
I don't know. It's just acting a bit funny, but
On here, what do you mean? There, look, that's what can be seen.
now it's showing.
I think just the connection for some reason. It's
It was a
funny,
bit funny.
Facebook.
Yeah, it wasn't updating.
Facebook is just being Facebook. So I've, you know, this whole thing with Meghan and Harry. Let's use that as our basis because I think it's. I'm going to say it right up front, right? I don't think Charles is Harry's dad.
He's not.
Okay?
He's not.
So I'm putting that out there.
From
For
the
those that
get-go.
still believe that he is too bad for you,
You obviously don't actually know what's going on.
no.
Right? And we can talk about blended families because we understand it.
I won.
Yeah.
I am her dad and I am her dad. Right? So we don't have any misconception. I am their dad, but they have different mother. And they each have a brother from the same
from
mother.
The same mother, yeah.
Right?
Quite funny,
So,
actually. and the brother is younger.
so and the brother is younger in
Yeah,
both cases.
In both cases, yeah.
So you need to know, we know blended families. I come from a blended family myself of 12. I'm the youngest of the 12. And half of us have the same father and half of us have the same mother. I do not call any of them my half brother or half sister.
I actually hate that, and I think it's disrespectful.
And well, to me, it comes from slavery mentality,
Yeah,
right?
because you're half.
Because you know they want you to know that
Yeah.
half is half. So, as in the case of you could be half of the slave master and all this. No, they are my brothers and sisters,
Yeah,
and that's it. And these guys, that's how they are. You've seen these two ladies on here now. We've been doing this about a year.
Mm.
You get me? And so everybody who sees, they know. We have been a blended family, and they've learnt it well. You know, and we have others extended families. The same
Mhm.
story.
The same
Family is
story.
family.
Yeah.
You know, and but those lizard-blooded people, right? And they're laughing because they know who I mean. I named no names, just those lizard-blooded people.
For real.
Them ones.
You know, they teach something different about all of that.
Yeah, they do.
You know, and all of that has to do with your family understanding, family dynamics, identity, and so forth. So now I can talk a lot, but today actually these two should talk more
Mhm.
because they can tell you what I taught them and how they are, who they are, and why they are who they are. Unfortunately, we didn't get the boys on here as well.
Mhm.
Well, Zakai can't be on here because he's in jail,
Mhm.
right? And people are like, "Oh, you talk about that so freely." Of course I do because it's the truth.
Yeah.
I'm going to say he's on top of the roof when he's not.
That's what.
He's in prison, man.
What's the point?
No,
Right?
He's gone away to.
Because he did some rubbish that he shouldn't have done. That rubbish that he did that put him in prison is outside of his identity,
Mhm.
right? So that's why I'm talking about it, because people need to know that I didn't teach him that way,
Yeah.
and neither did his mother, by the way. Although she did mollycoddle him in certain behaviours, but she didn't teach him that rubbish that he ended up doing. And so my point, anyway, is that these guys can tell you what I taught them, how we operated, and you know, we laugh about some of the things, but they've never changed. You see, like for instance, let me just give you just a wild example. We're going to go back to the Harry and Meghan thing because I think it's an important thing. When it comes to identity, and family relationship, it's very important to talk about them.
Mhm.
So we are going to talk about them. But let me give you just an example of how I've been in terms of my children. From when they were small, and Angelica is, I can't remember how many years different.
Well, oh, years different.
12 years,
11, yeah.
11 years older. And even in her time, it was the same. I used to let them watch what they're watching on TV, but if it's rubbish and foolishness, it can't be watched.
Mhm.
Because I didn't leave them. I didn't leave them like some parents are, plonk them in front of the TV and then they're very busy doing other things.
Mhm.
No, I didn't do that. For me, if I was busy doing something and it meant that I couldn't monitor what they're watching on the TV, I choose. If I didn't get the chance to choose, then whatever I'm busy doing, they also are busy doing what I'm doing. Right? That's my view of parenting and relationship. But they were not left in front of the TV to their own devices watching,
iPad children.
you know, anything and everything. And like how people are now, they're playing any kind of games. And no, no. My children, no, not allowed. So even when they put on stuff and they say, "Oh, Dad's sleeping," because his eyes are closed and he's not saying anything. So according to them, Dad is sleeping.
Oh, yeah.
I would hear some rubbish on the television and I wouldn't even open my eyes. What rubbish is that
All the time.
there on the TV?
What rubbish is this?
Get it off now. Change the channel immediately. And just continue with my eyes closed.
I think that used to happen more to Darren and Zach and them.
Oh yeah, because they're the ones. Yeah, they're watching some
foolishness, and then they
demonic-
wanna try and take the remote and sit on it and then stop instead.
yeah, because they'd put on some crap and then try to be hiding and pretending, or they'd try to cut the volume really low so that they'd be straining to hear it and think, oh, Dad can't know what we're watching now. I know, I will still know. Because it's called monitoring. You see? And it's necessary.
Yeah, it is.
I'm laughing because I'm thinking about Charles. It's called monitoring.
No, but it's true because you know what you see nowadays is people just. That's why I call them iPad children. You know what I mean? Because what they do is just, oh yeah, fling them the phone, fling them the iPad.
Even the programs that was foolishness when we was younger, it's not as
It's
bad.
not even food.
They're not like now.
Yeah.
Now
You know,
there's some serious
witchcraft.
witchcraft.
I hardly want to see the TV switched on at all.
I know.
Even the things that they say is for the
Normal,
young children. When
yeah.
you watch it, it's like,
Scary.
what the heck is
Scary.
this?
But this is what I'm saying because there was this thing. I was watching TV the other day, and I just like put on the channel, you know, and you just like put on one of the
background
channels.
noise.
Yeah, just be like, oh, let me just put the TV on a different channel because it was coming onto the news, and I was doing something, and I thought, no, I'm not having this news in the background.
You already know.
So I thought, let me just. So I just just press switch to the next channel, and then it went on to that what's that children's one? CBBC or whatever it's called. And I didn't even realize it was CBBC
Because it looks so
because it
different
was
now.
all grown, like some grown people show. Right? What was happening? There was some sort of witchcraft thing going on.
Oh, yeah,
Like
that's
they
in
were
everything now.
witches, or they were something, and then some demon or something. It was a bit like, what the heck? Why is it so dark and scary? Do you know what I mean? And this was supposed to be CBBC, and I used to watch that when I was like, you know, young, like 7 to 10, 7 to 11, that kind of age. I used to watch that stuff.
The time Alexis was watching them channels until now, it's changed.
It's changed. Yeah,
drastically.
it has. Because look at that time when Alexis even said to me, oh, because she was watching Disney Channel here at Dad's, and then it had some advert, and I said, what? What's this? Why has it got adverts? And then she's there, oh, it's always had adverts. And I said, no, it hasn't. Yeah, and even just that. So people are here. Leave
Them
their
kids'
children.
channels didn't used to have adverts.
No, they didn't.
Then they started putting only kids adverts, like kids toys and stuff like that. Now all of a sudden it's just
all kind of advert, as long as it's, you know,
before the
universal.
watershed.
Yeah, exactly. So people are there and they've got their children watching rubbish, because even YouTube is not safe now, because a lot of people's children watch YouTube, and they've got this thing called YouTube Kids. Yeah, but
it's not any
at
better.
the end of the day, if you were to do a video and then you just put, oh, it's made for kids, boom, it goes on to there.
And people have been editing those
like
kids'
Peppa
videos,
Pig.
and putting really disgusting things on there.
So then your children are putting in the search, oh, Peppa Pig,
and it's popping up with
whatever,
these other
and
things.
it's coming up with these swearing, nastiness videos.
And because you've just left them to their own devices and
you
are
can't
not monitoring
switch it off.
You don't know that that's what they're watching.
You don't know what
you
that
glance
you
over and see Peppa Pig on the screen, and then you're thinking it's all right.
Yeah, and you're too busy worrying about your own things or what's going on with you, or do you know what I mean? You're too busy cooking the dinner or whatever you're doing to even be interested. You're not even hearing what they're watching, because there's been times when I've been around children and their parents are there, and I'm saying, what rubbish is this? Get it off now. Get that off your iPad now, or get that off your phone now, and don't be ever listening to that rubbish around me again. I shouldn't have to be the one saying it. It should be the parents who are saying this. What are you watching? What are you doing? No. Instead, they're just leaving them. And no one is saying, because I know a lot of parents, they have that thing where, like, you know, if something's like a little bit not Christian style, they oh no, you can't watch it, and all of that. But I don't think that's necessary.
That's over the top.
Yeah,
Of course it is.
think
But-
there has to be a level to it, doesn't there?
But
Yeah,
my young people here will tell you, my way of combating something like that would have been, and still is, in fact, to this day, we will watch certain things which are maybe what you might call borderline,
Mhm.
and I will discuss,
Yeah.
and I'll discuss while we're watching and after.
Mm-hmm.
And if we don't have the opportunity to do that, then we wouldn't watch it.
Mm.
But if we're watching it together, I will ask them, what do you think about this behavior?
Yeah.
What do you think about what they've just said?
Mm-hmm.
And I would hear what they have to say. And if what they said is acceptable, then I have nothing to say.
Yeah.
If it's unacceptable, I blow a fuse. And my granddaughter is not here at the moment, gone out to the shop. But she will tell you, she knows that she knows she can make me blow a fuse completely. Because we have certain things that we teach, and
She's a very slow learner.
they must be taught. So you see now, one question which will arise, which I can ask anybody out there in viewer land who is watching now or later. You put your comment now if you like, or put it later. Who should teach your children about relationships, sex, and identity? Who should? I know what's happening right now in the world,
Yeah.
but my question to you is, who should teach your children about relationships, sex, and identity? That's question number one. This is a test. So question number two, how do you teach your children
Mm.
about relationships, sex, and identity? And I'll give you, a little example that leading by example is part of it, because they're looking at you and how you conduct yourself. And like I said, we're a blended family, and they've seen we've done pretty okay with that. Maybe Angelica has seen a slightly different thing than Tamar, because the mothers are different,
Yeah.
but it's not me. I'm the same all the way across, but the mothers are different.
They're different but the same as well.
Yes. Indeed.
The parents, because the school will start telling the picnic, it's okay to date the same sex and pick your own sex. Let me not start today.
Brother Green, it is the truth. It is the truth.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
In fact, I was going to save this. I was going to save this little clip till later, but I have to play it now. You switch. Yes, I'm going to play it first to the Facebook crew, and then I'll have to play it again. It's not long anyway. It's Baphomet chatting foolishness. So let me play it.
Why the gender
first.
of a plastic potato is somehow an issue.
Let me play it first here, and then we'll play it on.
Oh, it's him.
Yes, him.
This character as genderless.
But there's no such thing.
And it's really powerful. This is a classic. This is a classic fairy tale for a new generation. I think that the new generation is really ready. The kids are ready. It's the grown-ups that are slowing stuff down. It is an absolute beautiful day right now. I think when I was on the
Do we need to play it to YouTube?
You think? Yeah, maybe they couldn't hear.
Or
I think when I was on set last week, how profound it is
go up.
that I am playing
Oh, they can't see
the
what
fairy
they can
godmother.
Yeah.
They call it the Fab G. Magic has no gender. We are presenting this character as genderless. I think that's how I'm playing it. And it's really powerful. You know, this is a
Demon is
classic.
demon.
This is a classic fairy tale for a new generation. And I think that the new generation is really ready. You know, the kids are ready. It's the grown-ups that are slowing stuff down.
But it's not, what is it about the kids
See,
being
well,
ready?
the kids are ready.
The children are ready because they've
The
been
children
programmed.
are ready because they're programmed.
Mm-hmm.
in school.
You see?
By the
Them
TV.
over
And,
them
by
by them.
and this is the problem because children are a blank screen.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the thing that this is what we're saying when we're asking that question, you know, about who it is that's teaching their children. This is where it's all coming from, because we are now in an age where they are teaching children abomination.
Yes.
And yes, this is my program, this is my show, all right? So I'll say what I want to say. It might not be an abomination to some people. There are some people who watch these live shows that we do, and to them, it is not an abomination. That is fine. I don't mind if I even lose you as a friend, because it means that you and I were not really friends anyway. Because the Bible says, and here I go again, yes, I'm in the Bible again, that book that some of you don't like and some of you even hate. But the Bible says that the world, which is the darkness, and light, which is us, have no fellowship together. I'm paraphrasing, but that's what it says. Light and darkness have no fellowship together, right? And basically, when you love the world, you hate God.
Yeah.
Well, I love God, so you don't know already what that means about the world.
Mm.
I don't even need to go there,
For real.
right? So anybody who was my friend and now they can't be my friend, you were never my friend. So good night, God bless, and goodbye.
Yeah.
And I eat that,
For real.
right? Because I remember there's one person. In fact, I got two things in my head. Let me fling out the both of them. There's somebody who was a friend of mine. I say was because probably that person is still saying, "Oh, I'm still his friend." But no, the demons in that person are blocking the friendship.
Mm.
So when we were school children, we were friends. But now we've reached an age where John Chambers is extremely vocal, and he speaks against the Baphomet agenda as an abomination. He speaks against false religion and false doctrine as an abomination. He speaks against teaching children that you can choose your own sex as an abomination. You don't choose your own sex. If you are born with a penis, you are a male. If you are born with an opening, a vaginal opening, you are a girl. Okay? You don't choose. The Almighty God chose it. You have got rubbish going on in this world where now they are telling children you can choose and how do you feel. And if you like to wear a dress and you're a boy, you can wear. Not in my yard. You get some licks in your skin. You're not wearing no dress inside here. Right?
I just don't understand why it's
So-
acceptable to listen to
A 4-year-old telling you
They
they're
can't tell me
deciding-
nothing.
But a 4-year-old will tell you they're a dinosaur. So is that okay?
But that's what I'm saying.
They
because
are 4.
when is it actually gonna
They say
stop
stupidness
for the
all the
rubbish?
time.
Because first of all, it could be first of all, children are very impressionable and they go on by what's happening at the time.
That's why they're using fairies like this
to
one here.
influence. Yeah.
That's why. Because he's going into schools there with his
Yeah.
little dress on and his, and then let me teach you some magic.
Yeah.
Blah 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 blah. And did you know you can be like me? Fireball.
Yeah, and children are watching that and they're thinking,
But they shouldn't be watching that.
Yeah,
Because
this
this is the
is
thing,
good.
It's even at the age of what is it? Sexual consent. So why are you
Why
choosing
do you
your
need to
gender and
yeah,
talking about
you
any
don't
of those
know
type of
anything,
things?
Nasty
because
list.
that's
Before
the
that
only
point, it's not relevant.
But that's the thing. When you get to puberty, yeah, when you're 15, whatever,
You
13,
might want to
15,
talk about it
that's
then.
when that's
maybe.
more normal to speak about the differences
Yeah.
in the gender, simply because until then there is no difference apart from the anatomy.
Yeah.
As far as a child is a child is a child.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly.
And yes, there's male and female children, but they
But
are
that's
still
it.
just
They're just
children.
children.
That's why they all look the same. That's why even sometimes you can see a child and you, oh, is it a boy?
Yeah.
Is it a girl? I'm not really sure. Or even you see a baby, I don't know if
babies,
it's a
'cause they
boy
definitely
or
that's
if
what
it's
they're
a
saying.
girl.
It's
They
just a
are the
baby.
same.
That's
Yeah?
why I don't
That's right.
understand. What's this baby? Because baby is already
The term, which means not.
and it's
yeah.
male or female
Yeah.
baby. So why would you even change
Congratulations on your baby.
that? It's foolishness.
On your baby.
Baby. No, because that's
I
because
will
you know what
never.
they're saying on there. Congratulations on your demon-filled baby.
Yeah.
That's why they put about baby.
Yeah,
Rubbish.
See, really, at the end of the day, what they're doing is
Someone said hello.
Shivam. Yeah. Hello.
Hello.
Sir. Hello. What they're doing is that they're saying that it's okay to accommodate demons.
Well,
It's
it's not.
okay to be
Right.
some legion.
I mean,
part too.
we're not
Not in my
we're not
mind.
getting into that because that's not.
That's
You
not
know, check
today.
out my page. I've got some things
That's
on
not
there.
for today.
You know, I don't often do my biblical teaching live, but the ones about the demons, I've done it live on purpose, and I'm coming again on Wednesday, again with the origins of fallen angels and demons and the gap theory. And so, if you're already lost, never mind. Come on the live on Wednesday or watch it afterwards, and you'll get it.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: my children have been taught, irrespective of whether I've had broken relationships, marriages, or whatsoever, they have been taught that a relationship is supposed to be a man and a woman and their children. Whether the children are blended into a family or whatsoever the case may be, but it is a male and a female. The man is the father and the woman is the mother.
Yeah.
And it doesn't switch. So even all the rubbish when you get people big up all the mothers on Father's Day who have been both mother and father, rubbish. It is hell speech. You are speaking from the pit of hell, because even if the father was not present, you've not been a father,
No.
because you don't have the father equipment,
That's it.
right?
Be happy that
You've done a good job as a mother,
Yeah.
right? But the father wasn't
You
there.
can't be a father.
So maybe you want to tell the father he's a cruff,
Yeah, exactly.
but you're not the father.
That's what you should be doing. Like what that is a crop or whatever.
Yeah.
But not, oh, big up me on Father's Day. Well, you're not a father.
You're not a
and
father.
You never will be.
You know,
And even if you changed your sex, you still ain't a father.
you need to go and get a test from Maury Povich, right? Go there to Maury Povich and get the test, and he'll tell you the test says you are not the father. All right. Because you're not.
But this is the thing, right? Because I'm not even going to say too much because I don't want to incriminate. You know, I don't like to incriminate people, but, you know.
There's 3 people there.
Me, innit? Of course he's talking about me. What do you mean?
Well, maybe.
Yes, I know I am. Thank you very much.
Anyway,
Nice one.
as I was saying, I don't like to incriminate.
Leave him with his
people.
nonsense.
I don't like to incriminate people, but you know, we have to. We always talk from our own personal, you know, experiences of what's happening in the world, because of course we're speaking to other people who maybe don't think the same way as us, and even some of the things we say,
They've not
they
experienced it.
can't accept it, or they can't hear what we're telling them. And of course, if you're brought up in a different way, then of course you're going to have a different mindset, because that's life. Do you know what I mean? And well, there are certain people that really do believe there's no need for the dad to be around at all, and it doesn't matter if they're not there.
Yeah, I can raise them without a man.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. You should, even if the dad is not around that much, you should be trying or even giving him the opportunity. It's his choice to then make. Yeah, if he doesn't want, if he doesn't
I don't
want
believe
to,
in taking away the choice. If
Yeah.
he's going to be whatless and he's
exactly.
whatless,
That's a different
Yeah,
situation.
but that's right. You put him in the picture as much as possible.
Yeah.
And where where there's no opportunity
Mhm.
to put him in the picture, you find another male figure,
Yeah, in your family.
an acceptable
Yeah,
male
yeah,
figure.
not no new
Right.
man or some rubbish.
You know, and I have to say that we're not
50
talking about,
hours every week.
you know, exactly. We don't want that
That's
every,
mum's
you know,
friend.
and you know, this man and that man. No, an acceptable male role model who can fill that gap correctly.
Yeah,
You know, and that's how it is.
and raise them and give them the male guidance, and
Guidance, yeah.
especially
You know,
when it comes to male children.
and yes,
Yeah.
and with the boys, they
Yeah,
need that.
the boys really
They need a little
it
squeeze every
Yes.
now and then. They need a little bass
from the
voice
boys. Yeah,
to be told sit down, you know, and stuff like that.
Yeah, because if not, that's why you find when I told you when I watched that.
Never worked from granddad with me. That was.
What
In
did
fact,
it-
we used to do things purposely to get him to say it.
Nah, I know.
Sit down.
Yeah, but sometimes he used to get me wild for him. Then he'd be like, all right,
on the
let's
back of the sofa and he'd be like,
cool it off
get
now.
down. And then we get him really
But
mad and
until
we're just
granddad gets
freezing it out.
vexed, and then you'll know.
Yeah, and then
Yeah,
you're like,
but
right,
until then, it's not amusing.
When he's going for his belt.
yeah.
Yeah, then you have to go and hide.
Even my other granddad was like that. as well.
Exactly the
But
same.
he was very quick release with that belt.
Oh my god! And the thing is, he was there 70 and could still draw it off like some free city.
Still ready to chase you down.
Yeah, gunshot style.
Because he was there. If you make noise again, I'm drawing my back. And we were all there. Oh, yeah.
Quick
Yeah.
release, mate.
Yeah. And he was there. As soon as the noise started, he was there. And you couldn't even go near that room for the rest of the night because he was
Yeah.
still ready to beat you.
You see? And now, what people don't understand, those people, you know, who have a totally different vision and understanding about family discipline,
Yeah.
they may turn, oh, that's abusive.
abuse.
No,
I'm
because
fine.
because quite a lot of time there was no beating.
Yeah,
or
no, you
licks
didn't
or whatever.
actually
It
get
was
beat.
it was the mindset of,
Yeah.
you know, and it was like almost a bit of a game,
Yeah.
you know, because
Then you'd run fast.
because you're pushing to see how far can I push the boundary,
Yeah.
and then they'll say, right, that's it, and then you'll know, and you just, and it would stop there.
Yeah, exactly.
But now
You couldn't take it further.
Contrast that, you know, with a where there's none
Like some
whatsoever.
personal super nanny,
You
one of
know,
them families.
I've seen them right here on the road,
Yeah.
effing and jeffing at their parents,
Yeah.
and
Shut up
me-
and all of this.
I want my children, please, even until today,
Could you imagine?
Please,
But I
do
wouldn't
it.
even try because I'm not a fool.
please do it.
And these other people,
'Cause
it's
I'm-
either you're a fool or
I'm
your
telling
mum's a
you,
fool.
Even if I'm walking with a walking stick, I'll fling it in your head. And I'm not joking. You can't, because no, never ever. My dad used to do some
Exactly.
absolute rubbish sometimes where he carried on. The things he had me doing, carrying 25 kgs of potatoes and you know, all these type of things that he had me doing from a young age. And even when I was older, never did you hear this mouth disrespect that man one day yet. My mum rather worse. I was my mum's prince. You must be joking. And I'm not saying it to big up myself. I'm speaking the raw truth.
Yeah.
And anybody who knows me and they know my parents, they know I'm not lying. This mouth never can disrespect them. So I don't expect anything different from my own children. And they know it. Better, if you feel that you want to disrespect me, don't talk to me then. Yeah, just don't talk to me at all. You see? But now we're in a world where, well, you know, the children, they have rights. And they have a right. You know, you have to have a conversation with them about what they want and let them choose. Choose what and where. No.
This is what I was talking about. Twitter thing.
No.
That woman. With that woman talking about, oh, you know, I let my children decide and choose, and I let them say their feelings about
Oh, is this
situations
the woman
and
that's
all
cooking
that.
5 different meals?
Yeah,
That-
because that was exactly the one. Oh, so if this daughter wants this dinner, I
Listen.
give them that dinner.
It's
All
one
this
pot.
rubbish, yeah.
It's one pot. Yeah. Gets dished out. That's what you're eating. You don't want it,
what
that's
I'm
fine.
saying.
Go to bed. But in the morning,
Listen,
that's your breakfast.
Yeah.
That's how we had it, and that's how Alexis has it, and that's how it will continue.
I have
We're not
been-
dead.
I'm a fussy eater.
Yeah. We all are
Right.
actually.
In fact, that all of them, and,
Yeah.
and I think it's my fault.
Yeah, it's from
You know.
you.
But yet still, even being a fussy eater, right? When it came to food, as a child, my mum did majority of the cooking. My dad could cook. Now there were two things that we were told concerning food. Number one, no, I'm gonna be fun, but number one, eat the food,
Yeah.
and number two, eat the
Eat the
food.
food. Yeah.
Right? That's it.
Mhm.
Plain and
There
simple.
was no other discussion.
There's no other discussion whatsoever.
Mhm. Eat it or have nothing.
With my dad, it was far worse. We would play trick. My stomach is killing. Ooh, I feel like
Well,
vomiting.
that's even worse because then they come with the remedies.
Because then my dad would go and boil bush,
The remedy.
right, and give you the remedy so that you can still eat the food.
I still can't drink mint tea to this day. Peppermint tea. I can't drink it no more because my mum was there forcing me to drink.
Oh, yes.
Anytime I was
You're
saying,
gonna stomach
I can
ache
drink
and all
that
that.
one.
It's the essence. My mum used to get like, you know, the
The
oil.
drops.
Oh yeah.
But I
But
can't.
you
And
don't-
then she wouldn't even put sugar in it, you know. And I'd be saying, Mum, can I just put a bit?
burning
No,
all your eyes
just,
and
just
your
drink it.
But you guys, but you see, still that's because it came from where they came from.
Yeah.
But you guys are still lucky because you didn't get it the way we got it.
Yeah.
Because you're talking only peppermint and things like that. My dad was boiling Cersei
Yeah.
and bitters.
No.
Trust me, and those things without sugar, they taste like poison.
Yeah.
And my dad, you have to put a little, you know what I mean? You have to put a little sugar or honey and things. My dad is boiling it. Even the smell alone coming up the stairs is knocking you out, right? And he's bringing it up concentrated, right? And he's standing there until you finish drinking it. You see? He'll stand there and watch you drink all. Now, what's our point about all of that anyway? Is that
I grew up on bitters.
wash out. You don't know, right? And my dad is not moving from there until you clean it.
Yeah.
You see? Because you said your belly is burning you and you can't go to school. So
Yeah. So you
here's the
drink the
remedy.
tea. Yeah.
What? After that, you're just making sure you go to school.
My granny did the peppermint. Oh, so you know my pain with that peppermint, man. Oh, even just the smell now, I'm like,
But at the end of the day, we've lived through it.
yeah,
You know,
I'm not
and-
saying-
Exactly. It didn't
and-
kill us.
To be fair, a lot of those remedies are not bad.
no, because even now, when I actually do have a bellyache, I force myself to drink peppermint.
Oh, yeah,
You
and
know,
the
and,
ginger.
and the ginger, and it works.
And
It does work.
You know what I mean? I might not like it, but I'm doing
But
it.
it works. And you guys already know when they tell me, oh, my stomach, I'm like, ginger and peppermint in the cupboard.
Yeah.
Done. So now let's move forward a little bit. Relationships, let's dig into that a bit. I read an article just a couple of days ago, in fact, I think it was yesterday, of an English white man who works in Cambridge University. So he was remarking and saying that he has met many different cultured people from different countries and so on and so forth. He was being interviewed by Americans and they were asking him how different has he found all of that. And a comment that he made is interesting because he said that he spoke about food and about eating. And these people who he spoke to were people who look like us, you know, of color. And they said that they don't eat alone. And they always, you know, they always consider other people in their cooking.
Yeah.
And he found that strange because he said that for English people, they can eat alone and they only consider themselves. And and it reminded me when I read the article, it reminded me of my childhood. Growing up amongst white people in Cambridge and going at least by secondary school, I was in a school that was predominantly white. We were the absolute minority in the school. And the majority of the people were from that, well, let me say, well-to-do types of families. So what would happen now, I'd visit some of my friends, male and female friends, go to their house, and if I'm lucky, I'll get a cup of orange juice and a biscuit.
Yeah, sure, but
Right? And that was it. And then you're like kicked off out, go and play outside or go and play whatever,
play in the garden,
or whatever. Dinner time, tea time, whatsoever you want to call it. Tea time, anyways, I think is a northern thing.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
Or more northern, because we down there we called it your dinner.
Yeah.
So dinner time, I would be sent into another room to wait. They're having their dinner now. Can you wait? Or in some cases, even sent outside.
I used to get sent home.
Right? Or go home.
Yeah.
Even that
They're
one.
having their dinner now, so you'll have to go.
And
home.
I'm telling you straight, it was 100% white people that did that.
Yeah, actually, because
Yeah.
I had Asian friends at
Yeah,
primary
and the
school.
Asian friends
And
don't
when
do
I
that.
used to go there, what?
Yeah,
the mum
well,
used to be
you
giving
get
me
food.
everything.
You get a plate.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Dinner,
Now,
breakfast, lunch, whatever.
when I'd go and I'd tell my mum, this was now after I'd been bringing Tom, Dick, and Harry to my house. And when they come to my house, if it's food time, the food is shared and they get a plate. Even if it meant that everybody else got a bit less, but it was shared, everybody got something.
Yeah.
Or they would be asked, would you like to try this or try that? You know what I mean? And they would be like, okay, so they would have something to eat.
Yeah.
But they would never be sent away. They'd never be sent outside. They'd never be sent into another room.
Never.
They would sit with us, and if they wanted to eat a little something, they were given. And as you can imagine, 9 times out of 10, they never said no. When I began telling my mum what my experience was in these other people's houses, my mum told me straight, don't bring no white people back to my house. And I'm telling it straight how she said it. I'm not going to pretend. That's exactly what she said. Don't bring no white people back in my house to eat my food. And they're not giving you any. Right? And okay, my mum was hardcore, but I know what she was trying to say.
Yeah.
And it is
You
what it
know
is.
what she meant.
You know,
She
because
was
she's saying how,
white,
because she's saying,
before people jump on
is
that.
my child not hungry too then?
Yeah.
Is my child not entitled?
Not entitled to, yeah.
But what we're looking at here is the dynamics and difference in how we look at relationships
Yeah.
and how we treat family. Because now for us, family
It's very broad.
is
actually.
broad.
Yeah.
And when I say us, I mean us. Right? Family is large.
Yeah.
And we connect with people in terms of relationship through different things than some others.
Yeah.
So we connect with people. We connect with people in relationship through food.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you cannot go, for instance, let me give you an example. And I had to kind of educate my wife, Sarah, because she came to the UK. I know she's an African, and she should have known because Africans are the same. But she's come to the UK and she mixed with a lot of white people first, English people.
Posh, that's why.
And yeah, she's bougie.
Yeah, she is bougie.
Right. So now she's telling me about party, somebody's having a birthday party or whatever. So first thing I'm asking her, what color is the person? And she's like, what? Why in the world? Why are you asking? Because I need to know if I need to eat my dinner on the face.
That's a fact.
I'm telling you straight.
With Gabby.
They know. These are my children, so they know. But I'm you see me? I'm having to ask if I have to eat my dinner at home.
Yes.
Because I can remember there was somewhere she wanted me to go with her, and I said, okay. So I didn't, I didn't study that part. I didn't prepare my belly.
Because you're made
Right.
as well, because we assume, there's an event, there'll be food.
There'll be
there.
food, because that's what I'm coming to. So I've gone now, right? And my man are dead for hungry. Sorry for, let me put that back in English. I was,
That ain't not
really,
Yeah, you
really,
starving.
very, very hungry. Until my belly's singing.
Yeah.
And then all there is to eat there is cold
chicken.
All I know, cold sausage, cold chicken.
triangle sandwiches.
What do you call something to them? Potato salad.
Oh yeah. They
Oh,
might have like an assortment.
I hate
of
that.
dry
and then
crisps.
and crisps and slice of beef and slice of ham.
Yeah.
That's it. I said, Lord, wasn't really helping me. So after that, anywhere she asked me to go, I have to investigate. Because when we do it, you're seeing curry goat and it's not cold.
Exactly.
Curry chicken or fried chicken and it's not cold.
No.
Fried fish and it's not cold.
The salad.
Fried
is the
dumpling.
side bits.
Yeah, salad is salad.
yeah.
Coleslaw is
It's an
coleslaw.
addition.
It's an
You get me?
addition to the dinner.
Fritters, and this is just an average family thing.
Family thing. Yeah.
and that's how it's done.
Family
And everybody
event.
gets something to eat. In fact,
There's even
some
more
some
food
people
than
even,
the.
let me say, our black people, brown people, whichever one you call yourself,
Yeah.
right? But we're brown, all of us anyway.
Mhm.
Our people are too disgusting even sometimes.
Mm.
They come to that event and they bring a big old pan with them,
Ready.
right?
Ready
To collect.
to collect to go
To
home.
collect.
Yeah.
I remember we buried my auntie in Jamaica. And when I tell you, right, when I went, because I went obviously before the funeral time,
Mm.
and we bought the ram goat live.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, sorry for some English people who don't
Who are
know it
shocked
like
by
this.
that,
We're
yeah.
going to be a bit sort of feel a bit of a way, but
One piece of boiled chicken and cold mashed potato.
But listen. We bought the ram goat live, and when I tell you the goat looked,
It was looking nice.
you see me? That was the goat, and we know we had like
Should have invited them for some fufu and peanut soup.
I've had it. It's
Oh,
nice.
yeah.
Sweating all the way through the meal.
That peanut soup.
You have one bowl for the fufu, one bowl for the soup, and one bowl of water.
Yes.
And sit in a circle and eat and tell stories. That's the height of marriage.
Oh yes, that's life. That's relationship, man.
Exactly.
So listen now, because people, you have to understand this, that even though we knew we were going to eat the goat, there was a relationship with the goat until we ate him.
Mhm.
I know that, I'm sorry, English people might
They don't
really
get it.
be
They don't
offended, they might
understand
not,
it, yeah.
but I'm just telling the
Unless
truth.
they're farmer people.
You know, farmers maybe they'll get it, but we had the goat for about a week
Yeah.
before the event. So every day we go, we feed him,
Yeah,
and
you
we,
feed it up.
and we talk to him.
Talk to him, yeah.
We had a relationship with the guy, and we told him we're gonna eat you.
Yeah. Getting
Yeah,
nice and
the
dry.
guy's happy, so the meat is nice.
And,
That's
and-
what I'm
yeah,
saying.
and the goat was happy, and we made sure the dog wasn't near him or anything,
So
you
you're
know?
not getting trouble.
and we plumped him up.
Exactly.
So now, when the guys came now, the chefs and so forth, when I tell you the pot was some, fierce hot.
One of them outdoor.
Right?
Yeah.
And so outdoor fire, wood fire. So
Yeah.
they curried up the goat and cooked him outside.
Mm.
But now the interesting thing, every chef took his cut.
From the goat.
You understand me? So before even it reached the mouth of the people at the funeral, when I looked inside the pot, I was like, really?
Oh no.
But this, and this is part of, it's the negative side of that relationship bit.
Yeah.
But it happens all the time.
Yeah.
And then you've got people, because I told them, then listen, I'm going to monitor. because I've seen people come into the kitchen 3 and 4 times.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are you
And other
doing?
people ain't even
Oh,
eating
I'm
yet.
coming back to get a plate for my cousin and for us. Slow down, because they think they're funny. Because what are they doing? They're packing it one.
Yeah.
Look, this is tomorrow's
Yeah.
dinner.
Yeah.
You know, and they come.
But that's what they do.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just come to get some chicken before it's all done. Yeah, because you've already had yours and now you want to pack for later on to go in your fridge.
Mhm.
No, I don't think so. And it's so true. You have to be there like some monitoring.
I don't know why people
like
can't just
some
wait till
poor
the end.
monitor for the kitchen.
Yeah, just wait till the
see if
end and
there's
see
any
what's
left.
left.
That's what normal people do.
But you know, we're not normal, are we?
No.
You know, our people. But it is part of the relationship dynamics of how we do what we do. You know, I was telling somebody the other day, there was an evening here. I just decided to play some old time music. I was finding it on YouTube. I mean, proper old from the 70s, which, you know, it's quite, in terms of reggae, it's old.
Yeah.
So then I was talking about, you know, the history of the music in terms of family dynamics and saying, I remember these tunes from when I was a child because my parents used to have parties at the house and everybody was there. All cousins, aunties, uncles, you know, we're supposed to have gone to bed, but it's impossible for us to go to bed, impossible for us to sleep, you know. And the way it was that, you know, okay, the party is only part of the issue, but then you knew there were a certain amount of people who would stay after the party, you know, and everybody would be bundling into everybody's bedroom. So there'd be, you know, 20 people in one bed and all this kind of thing, you know. And for me as a kid, kids got the chance to just basically sleep on top of everybody's head because we're little. So we were just bouncing from one bed to another, you know, and getting sweets from everybody and getting a little pound from this uncle and a pound from that one. And, you know, and, or, well, probably less than a pound anyway, but, you know, 50p or whatever, which was big money, by the way, back then. All part of the relationship thing. Because now, in the same way, when you were rude and disrespectful, the same ones who gave you the 50p's and the pounds, they give you a lick in the back of your head. And there was no discussion. Why are you doing that? Who do you think you are? Don't touch my child. Don't talk to my... There was none of that. Oh, no.
The lady at church, you could not get past her. You would go in the kitchen after service, take a piece of chicken, and by the time you turn around, she was right behind you. Put it back.
Oh, shit. Freddie didn't know how to do it. That's right. You know what I used to do? I used to go, like the church events, I would go and be a server.
Yeah.
Right? So,
the
because when I go and be a server or go and do the drinks, they would fix my food separate. Right?
Before
And I could
everyone else.
choose what I want.
Yes.
And then, because I have to go back to the kitchen, the leftovers were also in my domain. You know?
Now, there's one woman at church that was like that. And you know what, right? And the worst thing is this woman, she was only like that because she was packaging everything for her own bag. Yeah, I'm coming in. Oh, I caught her, right, taking all these cans of drink. He said, Johnny, what's like? I caught this woman, yeah, she's there putting all these cans in her bag. So I came in and obviously I was like, looking at her as if to say, like, what's going on here? And then she said, oh, these are just extras. Coming like that extra drinks.
That one not to get you to help in the kitchen.
Now you know my tricks.
Yeah, the woman was packing, and you see that little trick ain't unknown in the
It's
book,
not
mate.
unknown, it's in
The
there.
woman's in there. She's monitoring everyone else, but then she's packaging for her own bag.
Yeah, but you see, all of it, you know, because I don't know if you think about now with this COVID situation,
They are ruining
relationships for our people anyway have been hit very hard. I mean, we've had people die. My son's godfather died last year. We couldn't have a funeral, you know, and had he been able, you know, he was a bishop. We would, you know, you would have needed a place that could hold thousands.
Yeah.
And now that time is long gone now. And okay, maybe they might want to do some sort of memorial later on. But it's because it spoiled it because of who we are.
Yeah.
A cousin of ours died, the same story, couldn't have a good funeral. It was just, you know, it was just her immediate family, her immediate
And that
children,
means mum,
you know,
whoever,
and the rest
and that's it. No
couldn't,
cousin,
you know.
no
And for
auntie.
us, it's hard because, you know, when we decide to bury someone, you know, we make a
It's a
celebration of the
celebration,
life,
yeah.
and you know, and that includes again food.
Yeah,
It would be worse
you know.
for us because we're a blended family. So what we class as immediate, they're gonna tell us it's not.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and that's very true.
Yeah.
They'd be saying to us, "No, you
Yeah.
that person can't be there because that's
Because they'll
not
be telling you about
your
this half
real
and
sister
step-business.
yeah,
or this rubbish."
exactly. All its half sisters and all
Mhm.
that. No, family is family.
Mhm.
You know, and we see family in a different dynamic.
Yeah.
And now-
the same surname, so as far as I'm
That's
concerned,
right.
that's family.
And even the thing that we've said before, but you guys, you know, that you know, we would not expect my you read it.
A whole box of patties went missing from a church event. We don't know who the thief was. Pastor, deacon, evangelist. It was the usher. No, don't know who the thief was. That means it was you, Alison.
Who Alison put that?
It wasn't Alison. Maybe Alison made them. But it always happens, you know. And but also we always have an expectation, you know, especially with the food part. It's just, you know, I mean, I know, but it is part of how we build relationships, you know. And many other people of color, it's exactly the same thing. We know, but you haven't always not eaten meat, so go away. But many other people, you know, I remember Pakistan and India doing crusades and conventions. And you know, you wouldn't believe, well, actually, you would believe, because mainly I'm talking probably to our people. The excitement wasn't even about my eating, it was about the eating afterwards.
Oh, yeah.
That's what they were excited about. And they just, you know, you could hear them talking about it. And I'm like, can you just give it a rest? Let's get the meeting over and done with. You're already talking about the food for after. You know, and sometimes I didn't eat afterwards and they thought I was crazy. And they were so excited about the food. But food and fellowship is important. That's how we are.
Yeah.
You know, I have a rule in my house, which I know that many do not. Nobody eats in their bedroom.
No.
These guys, they know from time. Nobody eats in their bedroom. That includes me.
Mhm.
So you can't, oh, I'm having my dinner in my bedroom. No, it means you're not having any.
Mhm.
Because we will eat at the table. And if we are home together, we will eat together
Yeah.
at the table.
Mhm.
If there's too many people at the table, then yes, somebody will sit
On the
on the sofa with a tray, but we'll eat together. Now, when these guys were much younger, I made that an even much more stringent rule, because now some people had to be positioned with their back to the TV.
You already know.
Others
No
who
phones or anything.
Others who were sat and were facing the TV, I monitored, because all that would happen is that I'd be looking at them, and they're busy just staring inside the TV, and all of a sudden they'd just hear pew.
Because you know when TVs used to make that noise when you turn
Yeah.
them off, you just hear. And
Yeah.
you'd be like, looking.
Alexis knows that
And
one.
Dad
very
would be
well,
there.
mate.
And I'd just be there, yes.
Where's the remote? Like, yes, eat your food.
There you go. And you know, and the other thing, we used the mealtime deliberately. as a socialization time for us. Talk about what's going on in school. Talk about what might be bothering you. Talk about what your friends have been saying or doing.
Yeah.
You know, but you have to practice it, because if you don't practice it, it doesn't happen. Now, there's a lot of families that, oh, you know, this modern time now, it's all different. They don't do that. But then they find that they think they know their children and they know what's going on in their household and family, and they know nothing.
They know nothing. Nothing at
These
all.
guys can tell you nothing past me. When I say nothing, I mean nothing. Ask them. Nothing.
I'm trying to think
I
what
don't
else we
recall
should be
really
doing.
trying to get
I never
anything
used to
past
try
you.
it.
No,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
But I think maybe that's
remember,
because
you've got brothers.
yeah.
You keep forgetting that we don't
I
have,
can't help if they're
but
a
we
little
don't
bit
have
less
them
money.
here. So, you know, when I'm talking about all four of you. You know, so remember them as well.
Yeah.
And they did try
Sometimes.
very unsuccessfully.
No. And I used to be like,
Like,
He'll know.
you know what I mean? I used to be like, he's gonna find out. How's he gonna find out? I said, because Dad just knows, okay?
Mm.
And then nah, you just chat rubbish
because they're
about
very
them.
parties. The two
Yeah,
of them.
they're both of them.
Okay, go
You
ahead.
can't just leave them to do
Yeah.
their thing until
Well, yeah,
Dad is
those
there.
two.
What rubbish? And then I'd be looking at him like, and he'd say, well, I
I did
told
tell
you,
you.
yeah, I told you. Dad is gonna find out, or Dad is gonna say something. Even like sometimes in the morning, right? Because obviously, you know, when you're children, you wake up early. It could be like 6:30, you're awake, just because you know
Because you are.
you're a child, so you're awake. And I used to be like, oh, let me just go downstairs, and I'd go and I'd watch TV. But because Dad's got like a surround sound thing on the TV, you'd have to have the TV at like 1 or 2, right? You couldn't even have it no louder, because then it'd be there. And so I was watching TV one time, like in the morning. That's my little programs or whatever, because he used to record them for us, like the ones that he obviously said are all right to watch. So we used to watch them, and yeah, in the morning at about I had it on about 3 or something, and then Zakai, for some reason, I don't know if he went to the toilet or he's woken up or what, but obviously he's seen I'm not in the bedroom, so he's come looking for me. And he's come downstairs, and then he's come in here and looked, and then been like, so that's where you've been, yeah, with the TV on low.
Yeah, because now
You
you feel
think
left
you're
out.
slick, yeah, because he was not happy that I weren't waking him up in the morning and saying, come and have breakfast and let's watch TV and all that. So he wasn't happy. And then the next morning, what happened? Oh, I'm waking up. He's already there. About with the remote, you know, quick.
You
But
guys.
Dad still knew that we were down there in the morning. It wasn't it's not like he didn't know we were down there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But we
See?
thought we were slick.
And I even taught them a relationship with my car. Because you see, now some people, they're like, oh, how can you have children?
Oh, and then
And
they
you-
mash
and
him
you-
out.
You know, and you don't let them eat in the car and all this.
What rubbish. I'm not understanding all of
They,
that.
they,
because
they
that's
look
the
healthy
main thing.
and they're alive, and they can tell you,
That's what I'm saying.
apart from when they were literal babies, ask
Yeah.
them if they've eaten in my car. Apart from maybe
And
chewing,
that's like sweet.
chewing gum or a
That's
sweet.
Sweet or chewing gum.
And it can't be them powdery sugar.
No.
I'm not the powdery ones.
It's got to be like the chew it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Listen.
Chew it.
No powdery sweets, no sugary
sweets.
sweets,
Yeah.
no crisps,
Never crisps.
nothing that makes
Never
any
crisps.
crumbs. So no biscuits
No.
or any of those things. Not in my car.
And they would be in the boot, so that you're not
Yeah.
even tempted to
Yeah,
to
they'd be in the
try.
boot. And are
Yeah.
they dead yet?
No. But then look at other people.
No, but the thing is, though,
crumb out.
but that's what I'm
out,
saying.
mash
These
out.
people who have been allowing their children to eat in the car and have grown up eating in the car, look at their car.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Because they're used to that. And to me, when like it's like somebody See, I don't want to say too much, but somebody took me home, right? Somebody gave me a lift, someone that
You
I
didn't know
know,
where to sit in the
and
car.
I was just like,
So, 'cause
looking
I really
around,
hate that.
and I was just like, this is scary in here.
You know, when
What the heck
you
is
want to
going
find
on?
something to put on the seat before you sit.
Yes,
Oh,
that's
yes.
exactly how I was
Those
feeling.
type. And you see,
Yeah,
no.
and
it's not.
people are like, oh, and what did
When
you
they say, "Oh, just push it onto the floor or something,"
oh, just throw it in the back.
Throw it on
Yeah.
the floor.
Throw it in the back seat, you know them
You see?
because when they're like around my age, no one's really getting in their car apart from like a friend or so the back seat
Back
is
seat is
basically
always just for the.
in
It's
exposed,
the dumping
yeah,
ground.
it's the dumping ground. I just fling it in the back and all of this, and I'm like, hey, fling it in the back, but thinking,
But you see, all of that as well. That now you've got this thing where parents. I read this thing the other day, and I was like, I read it like 5 times because I'm like, no.
someone already have their boat.
I couldn't even comment back. I was like, no, you're not normal.
Is
Is it frozen?
I'm just.
No, it is.
Oh,
No,
it
it's
is
frozen.
frozen.
Yeah. Yeah, it's frozen. And I saw this what they'd said. These parents, Sarah, closed the door.
That's what I was checking because I already sent it to Peanut.
Actually, they're ignoring it because I heard it being
Yeah, I heard it. I did hear it, and they're still doing it.
Mm.
But at least now we've cut them down a bit.
Yeah.
But this article, they were complaining that because these parents had told their children, oh yeah, it was a guy. Sorry, he filmed his children, and he'd given them chores. So there was an age gap between the two boys. The older one was making those kind of faces that said, if this face could murder you and bury you, you'll be dead. He was that happy about the chores. The younger one was sort of neither here nor there. So then here came all the Karens and Kevins with their, keyboard ninja style comments.
The comment.
These parents are disgusting. They should do their damn chores themselves. Since when did your children become your slaves?
How do
Children.
you prepare people?
Hold on, let me finish. Wait. Children are supposed to be studying and ready. When are you giving them a break? This is child labor.
What, from one clip?
And all these things. Of course, that's how they,
That's how they behave, though, don't they? That one clip is the all the time.
Yeah, their whole life.
But then you see the dad, he replied and he said, well, in my house, we do chores. That's what he said.
You all live together.
And so when he says we, that's what it means. My guys will tell you, because this is what I'm talking about, part of relationship. And this is part of what becomes your identity, right? I had to teach them and show them, and even they don't like me sometimes when I'm doing it, but I don't mind. You see, I'm in the kitchen, I'm doing something. You lot, what are you doing? Oh, nothing, get in the kitchen. And that's how I used to speak as well. So there was no negotiation. Would you like to come? No, it's not a case of would you like to come? Get in the kitchen.
Because everybody would like to eat.
Right?
So how you gonna
So
eat when you're older?
I don't have that discussion, and this is where we differ. And like I said, remember I said what I taught. So you can do your own version. You do you, but this is how I did me. You see? So whether they like or not, it would be get in the kitchen, and I'll give them certain tasks to do, and that's it. When they get to a certain age, if they choose not to do the task, I have other ways of dealing with that, and I still get my own way. Yes. So there's no argument because my house is my house. Because in my house, we do chores. That's it.
Yeah, but that
Because what it means then is that when they are in their house, they will do chores.
Yeah.
and they'll do them nicely, rather than I don't
Slap
how,
dash bash.
or I don't how do I do
Exactly.
no.
Listen, I know from when I was living with other people, yeah, about
You know,
what their parents
when you're at
are
university,
yeah,
you
what
know.
their parents are teaching them what to do and all this.
Mhm.
First of all, the first place I lived, we had a laundry room, right? Like a little mini laundrette place that they had on the campus thing. People in there, because I used to be washing all the time because that's just me. I just wash. I have a lot of washing because I don't really like to wear things often or like leave my bed and all them kind of things and or blankets or my dressing gown.
Marlene, isn't it?
You know, yeah, yeah.
Marlene do
Because
it,
mum,
what's
she's
the thing
washing it every. That's what I said to her the
Every
other day.
second.
Every day you've got something in the
Right
washing
now, how the
machine.
washing machine doesn't break down.
That's what Mark said. Mark said, "Can you give it a break? It's gonna break down in a minute." But I used to be down there every minute, yeah, at least like minimum twice a week. I was down at the laundrette thing, and because it was a lot of the time I used to do it in the nighttime or in late evening. So I used to they had like a little sofa, so I used to just wait there, yeah, because otherwise I'd have to put it on to wash, go upstairs all the way to my room, come all the way back down just to take it out and put it in the dryer to then go all the way. And sometimes you might come and your things are finished in the washing machine, but now all the dryers are gone. I didn't have time for that. So I used to just sit in there, and people used to come in and they'd be like trying to put on their washing and stuff, and they don't know what to do. And when I tell you, these machines were designed specifically for first time washing people. So the only options
It's
you had,
almost push in and switch on.
yes,
Yeah.
the only options you had was whites, colors, or what was it? I think mixed or something. And then like you could choose a temperature, but you could only choose a temperature on the whites one, which is why I used to put almost everything on the whites thing because it was a higher temperature. And that was it. And then you just press on. And it would, and you didn't even set a time or anything, it just did it all for you. And you just put it in the machine, put your stuff in the machine, and that's it. And people used to be there like,
But I don't understand what's so difficult about it. It literally has everything on there.
listen,
It's called laziness.
listen,
Well,
I
of
used to
course
be
it is.
doing my washing
Because
from the
it
time
tells
I was
you.
about 13 maximum. I did all the washing, all of my washing on my own, and my mum taught me how to do all of that and how to use the washing machine and the dryer, and dad taught me how to iron. So I knew what to do. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't a thing of, oh, what do I do and all this stuff.
No, but see, because now being taught those things, it's child abuse.
And they don't teach them in school either. So,
Teaching them
so
in
where are they supposed to get it from? The moon.
Where are they going to learn?
When they're doing their
There's
little
a
zoo in the
reason
fields.
they brought
Well, it must
that.
It
But
will
there's a
drop out of the
reason,
sky and hit them in their forehead.
Listen, there's a reason
Now you
they
know.
brought that show. What was that show? Was it from that Hotel of Mama and Dad? And that was a show for the mums and dads that were tired of doing all the cleaning, they can't even
But they
wash their
set
own
that narrative to
underpants,
begin with.
and the child,
The
person
yeah.
now, big person, my age and older, 22,
Don't know how
21,
to live
they
on their
can't
own.
even make their toast.
Yeah.
And that's what the
See.
mum was saying. Oh, he doesn't even do his own toast.
But
anymore.
whose fault is that?
Whose fault is it?
Entertaining it.
Whose fault is
And
it?
that's what I'm saying. So
You
when
set that narrative.
you're too worried about hurting your child's feelings by making them do things that they need to learn and that they're supposed to do, that's what you create. Some child that will forever you'll be old, right? And they'll still be coming to you about, where's my dinner? I thought you was making me dinner. And you'll be thinking, what?
Oh yeah.
I'm 80 now. What's wrong with you? You know what I mean? But that is the reality of what these people are doing.
Really is.
Of course it is. Of course it is.
Yeah, and it's,
You know, and so even if my children may have not liked it at that time,
no,
well,
you
they-
get
they-
over
they-
it.
Well, Alexis doesn't like being told anything.
oh well, we know
well,
that.
that's not anything
But
new.
it's not stopping me from telling her.
But
Right.
that's what I'm
And
saying.
She
also,
needs to know how
the
to do these
generation
things.
that she comes from,
Yes,
you know,
she's that
they
generation.
think
And I'm not encouraging none of that.
microwave food tastes nice.
Yeah.
And so, you know,
That's what I'm saying. Because
She
that's
soon
what people
realised
were
when I
saying.
went on strike that week and told her she better yam them microwave bills. She was upset me.
Yeah, 'cause
Yeah,
we
she
know
weren't
Jessica,
enjoying them
she
so
wants
much
her
then.
nice
this is what I'm
dinner.
saying.
Yeah, we know she
Yeah.
likes her nice dinners.
Of course. Because even the people who will turn around and tell you, oh, I'm not
I'll just have
I'm not bothered
takeaway.
about food,
Yeah.
right? When they see that they don't have takeaway money to be
Yeah,
extended,
exactly.
or they end up having
Gotta live on noodles.
you know, when the takeaway money becomes small,
Yeah.
you know, or there's McDonald's and chips,
Yeah.
you know,
What are
and,
you gonna have? Or you
Because-
have to have freezer food.
Yeah.
you know,
Air freezer surprise.
but there's many people that even that's what they're cooking, you see.
Yeah, that's what
okay.
they call cooking.
And that's not actually cooking. Let's just be clear. That's reheating.
That's reheating. And let's not get too far into that because we know it's a bit of a cultural thing.
Definitely.
So we'll leave it alone. You know, but
In
you see,
general,
like the whole thing about teaching your children and young people about, you know, what they need to do to be able to be productive in terms of having their own household, and
Yeah.
chores, being able to look after themselves. You know, it requires you to work with them.
Yeah.
So get in the kitchen is not abuse.
No, it's not.
No.
When you've had a shower, wash the bathroom is not abuse.
No, it's not.
And if they've not done it, go back and wash it. My son Zakai, he knows because he used to think he was a comedian. So what he'll do, Zakai, did you wash the bathroom? He'll run the cloth under the tap, squeeze it out and put it down. So that, oh yeah, I know what Dad will do. He'll go and touch the cloth to see.
Yeah, because they're not realizing that you can see around the
You
bar.
know, that's what I'm saying. So he's like, oh yeah.
Yeah, because
Might just
Then
try
the
that
rest of
one.
The bath is all dry.
Mm.
Yeah.
So I let him get away with it twice. And the third time he tried that, well, anyway, we'll not discuss the rest of it. But he never forgot and he never made that mistake ever again. Not with me, anyway. And I did all that because he must know when he's in his own yard, he will not be enjoying if he leaves that bath for 6 months and doesn't wash it.
Exactly.
So he has to know that it should be washed.
Yeah.
You know, you've had your shower, you've had your bath, whatever it is, you wash out the bath.
Exactly.
And don't try to be clever. And also,
Yeah.
when you're there and it's your own place, you're not fooling me, you'll be fooling yourself.
Well, exactly.
for
You know,
So I think it's the courtesy of the fact that there's other people that have to use it, so you must know.
there's
You
that
can't
as well.
just be selfish.
You know, and all
That
those
used
type
to
of
get me
things.
hot
Simple,
when I was
simple
living
little
with
things.
you.
You know,
Oh,
I've even had young people. You know, we used to host language students,
Oh yeah.
and some of them were young ladies.
That one, he was like, because of the sliding bed. Because he used to be there flinging all the things off of the bed,
Oh
yeah,
yes,
and then moaning because he's just because it's like a silky material
Oh,
or
yeah.
something.
So
But
then
before
he'd
you just
wake
say,
up.
"Oh, is there a different sheet or something?" He's there flinging them off.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that.
yeah.
I remember that. So then they
He
were
was,
all on the floor, weren't
He's
they?
an Arab, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
But then
yeah.
you see, we've had a lot of different, and you see the dynamics of parenting when you have those young people.
Oh
You
yes.
know,
Oh,
I
especially
remember
the very
one
young
time we
ones.
had the house was full of girls, and you know, I just warned them. I said, I don't know, because I just went and discovered some things in the bathroom that shouldn't be discoverable.
Yeah.
And I had to warn them. I said, I don't know what your parents tell you from where, you know, I said it very nicely concerning these things. I said, but you should understand, respect is due. I don't want to see my bathroom looking like this again. And I don't want the evidence to be there again. I told them very nicely. The next time when I saw the evidence, it wasn't as bad. I had to remind them a little bit more harshly so that they understood very properly that you must have respect for such things, you know, because this is what life is about. And that when we see these things missing in terms of how we can relate to one another on a good, beneficial level, a lot of it, the parents are to blame.
Yeah.
Because you didn't teach your children and young people those things, you know, or of course, culturally, you believe that they don't need to. Oh, my son doesn't need to do anything; his wife will do it. Oh, okay. But in the world we live in now, that's hardly even realistic anymore.
No,
and
it's
if
not.
you were to, listen, if your son had those views, they're not finding a wife.
No, they're not.
No,
Not in
in
this
this,
day and
in
age.
this world now,
Everybody's a
you know,
feminist.
it's just not happening.
It's equal. You
You
should,
know,
and all this rubbish, and even they're more even on. Oh, it's because the funniest thing is that a lot of people now have been. They've because of school and all these places where they're learning their other ideals and customs and
Yeah.
and do you know what I mean?
mm,
Culture. Yeah, these strange indoctrinations. That's why now you've got, people who will say, "Oh, the man should be, the man and the woman should be equal." And then when you say to them, "Oh, so what about when it comes to like the bills and stuff? Oh, the man should be paying them all." Okay. So the man should be paying everything, all of the things, but then at the same time, you then aren't
But
doing your part either.
I just don't really understand this
because they
thing
don't
of
know what the part is to do.
gender roles. Because okay, fair enough, you're saying the woman should do the cooking and the woman should do this. Okay, but what about these men that choose to live alone?
Yeah.
So there's no woman coming to cook you dinner.
Well,
That's
imagine when he's cooking, he's a woman.
Yeah, exactly. Because
You know?
how can you say that? Oh,
You can't just say those things. It doesn't make any sense.
nursing a
It's a
baby
load of rubbish.
and all those things. That's the role of a woman.
Yeah,
nursing
because that's
the
what the
baby
body is designed
And those
to do.
kind of things.
So therefore, yeah, that is a role
Yeah.
only for her.
Exactly.
And even if you say you're a man, but you're still capable of producing milk from here, then you're not a man.
Yeah,
you're not-
you
you're
never
a
work.
woman.
Right? Even if you've got beard,
Yeah.
but you still have a breast and milk is coming out of it.
Originally,
not-
you're
Yeah.
a woman.
Because that's
You
the
know,
that issue when they were
You
saying, oh,
told-
boys can have periods. No, they
No, they can't.
can't. If you do
Women
not have
can
a
periods.
uterus,
Males.
you cannot have a period.
Exactly.
So
It's
therefore,
simple.
if you've got a uterus, you're not a man.
Yeah, you're
You
not a
know?
man because you wouldn't have those organs. And,
And-
that's only if, which is what we spoke about
The
before.
hermaphrodite.
Yeah, with the intersex thing.
Yeah.
That's the only
That's the only
time.
version.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
And even
only
then, they
version.
usually one.
They still
they're
choose one
usually-
or the other.
Yeah.
and they're usually more of one than the other.
Yeah.
They are.
And again, these are the things that we talk about.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is not
But
something
then
that
you need to know.
you can only talk about it now because they're both adults. No, we don't.
No,
We
we've
talk about
always-
it even when they were much younger.
And I talk about these things with my child now also.
We'll discuss them because
Could you imagine if I didn't know? What
No,
was that thing
what?
that she
Oh
came
my
home
God,
with?
you would be so confused.
That
Right there.
leaflet thing.
Yeah. So
I
if
tell
he
her.
wasn't talking to her
Right.
about things,
Because
she'd
I
just
said
be
to
out
her,
there
"Give me
thinking
that."
this foolishness
Yeah.
that they're teaching her.
Because I
at
said to
school.
her then, because what did she say? Because that's what she said to
It
me.
was something
She
about
said
the
to me,
gender.
"Oh, we're
bullshit.
learning about
Oh yeah, several genders.
puberty and this." And I said, "Give me the book. Let me see it now." Yeah, because I already knew. Then I'm reading. Oh, there's this, there's that.
There's not
all
only
this
two
rubbish,
genders.
Yeah. And I said, "And what did they say that you had to write these answers?" And she said, "Yeah, because I saw they were marked." So
What
each
did she
answer
do
had
that? She
a
gave the
tick,
work
but
to
she had
her
given
friends.
she'd given the booklet to her friend to write the answers. Yeah, and each one had been ticked like this and what's that?
As though
Because
it's
this is
correct.
Yes, to enforce.
So that means if
oh,
she's
it's
put there
correct,
what I've been telling her,
they'll
they're going to
put
tell her
they'll
it's
tell her
wrong.
that it's wrong.
Yeah.
That's
But
what they
but you
put.
see, this is the problem. But you can argue the point if you want to,
Of course.
and we would do.
They already
Because-
know that.
Because this is what I'm saying. The school and the system will be teaching what they want to teach.
Yeah,
And this is the reason why parents must be responsible enough to have these
And
kind of
vigilant.
conversations and vigilant
yeah,
to monitor, first of all, what it is that the school is giving out
yeah,
and society, so to speak,
yeah.
and then to talk about those things with their children and
Yeah.
young people. And as they get older, you need to continue that conversation, you know, in all areas.
Yeah, because we started speaking facts.
Yeah.
It's back on that.
You know,
Yeah.
you need to continue that conversation in all areas. It's
Mhm.
it's unreasonable to imagine that you will just leave it to the school system to tell your children how
to think.
they should think.
Yeah, because
So
that's
that,
what it is.
you know,
It
you
is what
tell
it
them,
is.
we will
Creating
tell
a
you,
mindset.
we will tell you your identity. We will tell you what happened to you and your ancestors.
Yeah.
We will tell you how your future will be. Because even the stuff that they teach about our ancestry
I came home
and
immediately
all of that,
because I knew it wasn't
lies.
right. Because as soon as they about we're going to learn about slavery today. And I hadn't really, like, yeah, we had spoken about slavery, but we hadn't really watched anything. We were still quite young then.
But the
Because
thing
I was
is,
only in year 7 then. So I was about, what, 10?
that, none of that has
Mm.
changed though, in
What?
sense of the narrative that they tried to push with that.
No, they're still
Because
teaching
even
that
just
rubbish.
last year, I have a friend and she's what they would say is mixed race, and she's got 2 little mixed race girls. The daughter said to her, "Oh, it's Savory History Month."
Mm-mm.
You see what I mean?
Yeah,
Because that's the only thing that
because
they
that's
teach.
all they
Because that's all they teach
Yeah.
anyway. That when they talk about
our history
when
started.
they
with
talk about
slavery,
Black
and
History
that's it.
Month, they talk
They
mainly
start
about
from
the slavery.
Yeah.
Well, as you guys can know, my daughters and my sons anyway, they know much more than that because
Exactly.
Because there
I've-
is much more.
because
than
there is
that.
much more than that. I've been a very vocal person from day one,
Yeah.
ever since they've known, and they know that that's not
Yeah.
how it
So
is.
I came home and I said, Dad, they're saying this and that at school and saying we were slaves and you know, because I had never I'd kind of heard a little bit about it, but it wasn't really
No.
something that we focused on because why should we have to focus on the slavery part when there's much more
Much
history
more.
and things
when
that
we
have
had,
happened or going on?
The Saturday school, so that's where we was learning about things to do with people of color.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
I used to teach there, didn't I?
yeah, so
You
when
see
we
what I
was
mean?
getting this foolishness from school, it was like,
Yeah, it was like, what is this?
And then
and then
that's
they want to tell you you're wrong when you're saying things
Yes.
and trying to
Because they
question
don't
it.
even know.
Yeah.
And then they defunded the Saturday school.
Of course,
Mm.
because they was teaching that and they didn't want it.
Yeah.
It's funny enough.
Because it's not funded by
Because
people of color.
that's
why.
given me a good idea for
The next topic.
the next topic. Because a lot of the funding for that back in the day came from a couple of avenues, really. Firstly, it came from local authorities who gave out money. The exact name of the purse I wouldn't like to say. I've forgotten the exact name, but they were giving out monies for ethnic minority use, as they would call it back then. Then also the other one, which was still kind of connected, was that they also then gave funding to community organisations who would then supplement that, because it was called Saturday Supplementary School.
Yeah.
Right? That was the actual name of it. And mainly it was a case of that, the supplementary part would be that whatever funding there was would help to pay for books maybe, and
Tuck
for
shop,
tuck shops, slideshows, and stuff like that.
Road trips.
Yeah, but we who were involved as tutors and teachers, we were not paid. Our time was free of charge, and the most we got out of it was a drink, a can of Red Stripe,
The
or
sense of accomplishment when you taught somebody something.
or the children enjoyed. You know what I mean? We say, okay, we help the children.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
Of course.
But now where the problems and the issues came was that with that sort of model, it wasn't sustainable.
Of course not. Because people get tired.
Because people get tired. People also want money. People have other things to do.
And it's not.
And it's difficult because then they're saying, well, look, I need to work on
Yeah.
Saturday because I need to earn some money. So you'll get big gaps where teachers were not always available. So then you'd have disruption in the groups because they'd have different people teaching them.
Yeah.
So you'd have a different teaching style, different teaching method. Because remember, also, you're talking about sometimes, in the main, unqualified teachers as well, and so on and so forth. Now, whether or not we would say, is there then an argument to return, to such type of educational endeavors? Well, maybe we'll hit that next week, because we're not going to be on here much longer anyway. On this now, we said we wouldn't be like too long today, but I think maybe there might be. But I think now that it would be different, because in the era that we're in now, we wouldn't want to target just children. Saturday Supplementary School was mainly, although to be fair and honest, those who were involved, as in the teachers, the tutors, and others who were there sort of as extra bodies, they also did learn, because there were some things that were being delivered by maybe the person who was in charge of the class, and there were others who were there as assistants. They didn't know it themselves.
Yeah.
Now that's my point. That, you know, if we were to return to such type of things, where, you know, how far do we stretch in terms of who we're educating and what we're educating?
Yeah.
I believe it's a good subject for us to look at next time anyway, so I'm not going to say more. But I would say that in those days, I think people really did benefit from that.
From the Saturday.
And I believe that because they benefited from it, that's why
That's why they
it was squashed.
I think
I mean,
so.
you know, anybody who wants to argue the point and tell me I'm wrong,
I believe
feel
so.
free.
100%.
But
Because
I
I was one of
believe-
those people benefiting.
there you
from it.
go. And Daryl too.
Yeah.
But I believe because they benefited, because it stretched those young people and made them look at life differently and go, and it made them question things. Now we do know that the way that we have that today is doing exactly what we're doing here now.
Yeah.
You know, this is our version of it to an extent. But that's where now it leads to that question. How would we now engage on a better level, you know, to make this more impactful if we're going to use such forums as these? Because it means then that you want more people involved, you know, because the problem we have when people are just left to their own devices entirely, as in, okay, I can Google what I want, I can look for what I want on YouTube and watch anything on YouTube. The problem with that is that you may end up watching total and absolute nonsense.
And drinking it in.
You swallow it in like it's real and it's correct and it's,
And it's the complete opposite.
you know, and then you're gone with it.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, something which I'm going to teach tomorrow. There are at least 3 different views to that same one subject. So it needs someone to help you, to guide you through it. Remember, you've had a look. Yeah? There's a for argument, there's an against argument, and there's also an in-between argument.
Where they're just not really
You know,
saying.
So you need
Yes,
someone.
all
You
that.
need someone to guide you through all of that. Sometimes, otherwise, you just jump to your own conclusion,
Because I think that's exactly what's happening.
or
now.
follow the consensus. You know.
Yeah, exactly. This is what's happening now in this day and age. That's why everybody, because that's why I told you lot already. I have to read the comments on something. If I read either a post or what someone said or like an article or whatever, I have to go to them comments immediately. I read the article and I'll go comments because I already know what rubbish are people chatting on here. Yes, that's what I'm saying. I just have to see a preview of the article and I think, let me go to the comments first because I need to see what people are actually saying or what mindset are they in, what are they thinking. And sometimes, do you know how many times I see comments and I think, I could say something to you, but the way that you're speaking, I already know it's only going to turn into an argument. So I just have to remove myself from the thing. I'm like, do you know what? Let me get off of these comments now because it's getting me hot. Yeah, with the way that people are thinking. And why are they thinking like that? That's because either they've come to the conclusion on themselves, because they've got no mom or dad or anybody who's really, the mum might be there and the dad might be there. I'm not saying the parents aren't around, but they're not instilling any.
They don't have that type of relationship.
They don't have that type of relationship. They're not giving them ideas and values and, you know what I mean? They're not telling them, when you see this, you know, this is what it means and you should, what do you think about this? And, well, no, that's not right. You should be this and that. They're not doing any of that. They're just leaving them to, just get off on the road and get on your bike and shove off. Yeah, and then when it's dinner time, get home and have your dinner and get off to bed. That's all they're caring about. Yeah, they're not interested. And then they say, you know, it's just they're teenagers, you know, you just let them leave them.
And that's then the same way they conduct relationships as they grow up.
Yes. Because then that's the same thing they do. Or they become overly extra and mollycoddle the child. The child can't even decide what drink they're having. without their
everything
mum
is
or
monitored.
whoever. Yeah, everything is monitored to an extreme. So then what happens to that child who's overly monitored?
But and it's
They
still
go
the
out in the
same.
world
They still don't
and
know
they go wild.
how to manage
Yeah,
life.
they don't know how
because
to
they've not
manage
been
life.
prepared.
They've
No,
not been prepared, and so they
because
become
they've
wild.
never, even sometimes they become depressed or
Yeah.
have to have mental health issues because they've never had to actually make decisions.
Yeah, they've
Yeah,
not
and
had
think
family
about
balance.
things. Yeah,
Yeah.
they've had no balance in their
Never
life or
had to actually
control
do anything for
or
themselves.
anything. Yeah,
So they don't know
You
how
know?
to when
So
they're
that's
presented
it.
with
We need the family balance. Now we're going to round this up
Yeah.
anyway. But this is the thing: relationships. We talked about relationships. We talked about sex because we didn't want to go too far into that.
no,
We talked about identity, and the reason why we've not talked further on those other is because they're all interrelated anyway, and it all comes back down to the family. Because when you see, as a parent, and okay, maybe I'm talking majorly, maybe to Christians, but if you see your son is moving dodgy, right, as a child, and you understand what I mean by that, I don't need to go deeper. When you see he's not moving right, you straighten him.
immediately.
When you
as
see
well.
your daughter is moving dodgy and she's not moving right, you straighten her. If you want to know how do you straighten them, let me explain. Number one, you talk. Number two, you talk. Number three, you talk. That's it.
Yeah.
And if you want a little bit more than that, you want me to go deeper? When your talking is not working,
Then it gets to something else.
then you use another necessary method.
Yeah.
Let me put it like that.
Mhm.
And those necessary methods go along with the talking,
Yeah.
right? But always the talking is the talking.
Mhm.
And the necessary method, that's all I'm calling it, will follow the talking. When they get to an age where necessary methods may not be necessary, you talk,
The talking is still necessary.
right?
Yeah.
talking is always
Yeah.
necessary.
And you don't stop talking.
No. And that's the thing, people don't speak. They don't, because what it is like remember what we were watching on television that time with that young man, and he had that terrible girlfriend, the Cockney guy.
Yeah.
And what he was saying about his family before, because she said, oh, he doesn't even talk to me and all of this. And when he goes out, he doesn't even text me, oh, am I all right?
Yeah,
and
yeah,
all
yeah,
these
yeah.
things. And he said, well, why would I be texting you when I'm out? I'm with my dad. You know where I am. So what do I need to text you for? But when he has spoken about his family relationships before, he has said, my family, we never used to talk.
Yeah.
He said something major could happen, and the
And
next
nobody
morning,
was saying
no
anything.
one is saying anything.
So
No
he-
one is
yeah.
talking.
So he had those difficulties.
Yeah. So
You
he's
see?
used to that style of behavior. He was probably going and playing out with his friends or going and staying at his friend's house, and he probably didn't even have to tell his parents.
You
none.
just go and
He
come
just
back.
go and come back,
And
and
they'll
they
just say, oh,
where
you're
were
back
you?
now.
Yeah, oh, you're back. Where were you? I was at my friends. Oh, all right.
You see, and I didn't
End
grow
of
up. I didn't grow up in
conversation.
a family like that.
No,
My
neither did
mum talked too much. My dad talked too much.
I.
That was my family. So I would be interrogated twice.
Exactly.
The way I'd escape it, I'd go and sleep fast, so my dad couldn't ask me anything because I'd already be asleep. So then, and then maybe the next day he might have forgotten,
Yeah.
or he'll catch you,
Let
or he'll
go.
catch you. But my mum, 150
Nah, mate.
questions, and if my dad was around, 150 more questions,
Yeah.
and if one of my aunts were around, 150 more on
Yes.
top. So that's the way I grew up, and that's what they got.
Yeah, we got the same thing.
That's what they got.
You know what I mean? Anytime, because I was even talking about this to my friend the other day because we were speaking about this person that we both know that's just their behavior is just disgusting, and it's down to the parenting and how the parent has raised that person. Do you know what I mean? Because they think that their behavior is normal and correct because it's never been told.
Never
that
been
it's
challenged.
wrong.
It's never been
It's never been
challenged.
challenged. So when they're acting out, oh, they want their way, the mum is just, oh, all right. Or they just, instead of dealing with them properly, they then send send them off to someone else, or send them. So when the person is now grown, they are going to have zero respect for you as a parent, because they're going to think,
Because
well,
you
you
haven't
never
done any
even dealt
parenting.
with me.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's it.
anytime I had an issue or I was acting out, you
There's
just
nothing to
sent me
say.
away.
And they know also that now when you are grown, it's too late.
Yeah.
But yet these guys will tell you, I have two favorite statements. When I would always tell them, come here. And then from there, I told them, come here. I have two favorite statements. Listen to me and let me tell you something. Is that not true?
Yeah. And you just be thinking, oh, no.
Right? And until today, it's the same.
Yeah. Because like I said, that's what my friend was saying.
And we
She
will
was-
have a
when we were
discussion
young-
always.
when you were young, you know, when you were like teenager and all them things, you know, when you have your little rank times and all that stuff. And she said, like, you know, you would have it where you're thinking, oh yeah, no one said anything to me, like everything, no one's given me licks or nothing, everything's calm, like it's all right. And then suddenly you'd be getting some ambush meeting where they'd be there, yeah, sit down. Or coming to the front.
I remember
and you'll
them.
be thinking, God, no, why? And he'll be there, yeah. Right, let's have a chat, let's have a conversation. And even sometimes my mum used to be there, oh, I'm dropping you off to your dad's this week. Your dad's not coming to pick you up. And even then I'd be thinking, yeah, and I used to be thinking, nah, something's going on. Like, and then I'd get in, I'd be like, I knew it. Because then they'd both be there. Ready for the conversation. But you know, at the time, yes, I didn't like the conversations, but I know that they were necessary, and they you know, they aided in my development. You know what I mean? And if I didn't have those conversations, what person would I be? We don't know. A lot worse, or I could be one of them terrible people out there that's, oh, I'm knocking your trolley, and when the person's saying, oh, excuse me, I'm going, shut up, and all them kind of behaviors. That's how some people out there are.
Yeah.
And
Not
why?
my people.
Because they've never been told nothing.
Not my people.
Yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time. We are on 1 hour and 41 minutes.
Yeah. So
And I was hoping to
lock it
round it up within 1 hour and 45 anyway. So we're doing well. And you know, because we've spoken.
Yeah.
I didn't want to go too deep, but I think everybody who would have tuned in whichever way, you'll have got a flavour and an understanding of how we've gelled as a family from their childhood, what I did, what I didn't do, how I've done it, and how we think things should go. So that's, you know. And so I think next week, in light of what we talked about, I don't know exactly how we will entitle it, but I think we want to talk about, I mean, I think maybe we need to pose a question. What do we need to supplement our community with? I think maybe that's the question. And then we can look at several things. Educationally, obviously, is probably one of the biggest ones, because education is the key to most near everything. And only God knows why they have to be doing this.
Oh,
I've been thinking that already.
Because I don't know why they're doing this when we're doing the live.
So thanks a lot, folks,
Yeah.
and see you next week.
Good night.
Jesus Christ, and it's so loud as well.